Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving into what might just be the single greatest story of wedding demands and musical delusion ever posted online. Seriously.
It really is something else.
This whole deep dive is based on a Reddit post, and the title tells you almost everything you need to know. My friend just asked me to play the violin in her wedding. I do not and have never played the violin.
Yeah, that question mark at the end feels pretty crucial, doesn't it? Like, is this real life?
Exactly. It sounds like a setup for a, I don't know, really bad sitcom plot.
Right. But as you dig in, you find out this story involving this impossible concerto and a very expensive impulse buy. It's actually, well, it's way more troubling than just your standard Bridezilla moment.
That's the mission today, really.
Yeah.
To get past the initial, like, wait, what? And figure out why this whole request was such a massive red flag, not just, inconvenient. So this setup is just perfect. You've got the original poster, the OPA, she's 23, and she gets this request from a school friend, 22 years old, who she says she barely knew outside of class.
Right, not exactly best friends.
Not at all. And the demand. Play a complex violin piece at her wedding.
Yeah.
Which is a year away.
Okay, the sheer absurdity of it just hits you first, right? Imagine, like, some acquaintance pulls you aside and tells you, completely seriously, that your job now is to master an instrument. An instrument that takes years, maybe decades to get good at in 1 year for their wedding.
And the OOP's first reaction, laughter. Which, honestly, is the only sane reaction you could possibly have.
Totally. But then the friend, she shifts. It goes from this kind of casual request to something almost, you said it, religious.
Right. And that brings us straight into part one. This vision from the wedding god gets weird.
So the friend explains all this over lunch. This was back in June 2014. And the details OOP gives are just fascinating.
Yeah.
The friend says she had this dream, a vision from God, she actually called it, her perfect wedding.
Okay.
And apparently it was so beautiful, so moving that she woke up crying and just couldn't stop for hours.
Wow. That's intense. Even for wedding planning.
It is. But it also kind of elevates her own role in this whole thing, in her mind. She told the OOP she saw herself as an artist with divine inspiration.
An artist.
Yeah. Planning this event that was going to change lives. This wasn't just a wedding. It was some kind of profound performance art piece mandated from above.
And OOP was cast in a starring role, apparently. The description of the gig itself was incredibly specific, too.
Oh, tell me.
OOP had to be front left on the aisle, wearing a long white gown, feathered and beaded and soft.
Feathered and beaded.
And the music wasn't just, background stuff. It had to be a concerto. Soft and complex, beautiful and intricate.
A concerto, right. And my favorite part, the technical specifications.
Which was?
The music had to sound so intricate that no one would believe it was just one person playing it.
Wait, what? How does that even work?
It doesn't. She's basically asking for a solo performance that sounds like an entire orchestra made of ghosts playing simultaneously. It's physically impossible.
So OOP, naturally, tries to explain again, hey, I have zero experience. I don't even own a violin.
Makes sense.
And the friend's response. Immediate shutdown. Slams her hand on the table. Yells, SOP.
Whoa.
And says, you have a year to learn. Because this was extremely important to her. A year.
A year. Maybe enough time to learn how to, hold the bow properly, not play a concerto.
Definitely not.
And that sudden switch, from the dreamy vision talk to just commanding her, that's important context we'll come back to. It's reality wasn't allowed to interfere.
Yeah, good point. OOP also mentioned seeing the friend's wedding notes. And they sounded kind of unhinged.
Unhinged how?
Just feverish scribbling, repeating phrases like, inspect what you expect, and all in white. Over and over again, copied into these big, intense paragraphs.
Okay, yeah. That sounds less like planning and more like evidence.
Yeah, totally. It suggests this hyper-focus, this need for control that's clearly overwhelming her.
Exactly. And then Oiki tries again to gently say no. And that's when the money bomb drops.
Oh, right. The financial twist. The friend just brushes off the refusal. No, it has to be you. I'm sure of it.
Of course, because the vision.
And then she says, besides, I already bought your violin and it was almost $2,000.
Hold on. $2,000.
Yep.
For someone who, 5 minutes ago was laughing because they can't play at all.
That's the one.
That is, wow, that's not just generous, that's recklessly extravagant. Buying a $2,000 instrument implies you expect, a professional level outcome, totally disconnected from reality here.
And the payment plan was the cherry on top. OP could keep the $2,000 violin, but only if she performed well.
So it's basically a bribe, a $2,000 bribe to do something incredibly stressful and pretty much impossible.
And Opie's reaction, according to the post, was just perfect deadpan. I don't want a violin. I don't play.
Just nope, no drama, just the facts. Love it.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit now, because this is where the story really turns from just like a funny, weird anecdote into something much darker. We're moving into part 2, connecting the dots to the real problem.
Right. The OOP herself says she stopped finding it funny and started finding it horrifying and sad. She realized this wasn't just normal wedding stress.
And that realization is so important, because when you look at what experts and people with lived experience were saying on Reddit, this pattern of behavior, it's screaming for clinical attention.
Absolutely. You've got the vision from God, right? This extreme excitement, this belief she's an artist changing lives, the complete inability to hear no, and maybe most critically, the reckless spending, that $2,000.
Yeah.
So for you listening, why does this specific combination of things point towards something serious, like a manic episode, maybe linked to bipolar disorder?
That's the key thing to understand. Like normal wedding stress, that's crying because the caterer messed up the napkins.
Right. Annoying, but normal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A manic episode, though, which often starts showing up in someone's early 20s, like these women were. It involves this whole cluster of symptoms: elevated mood, tons of energy, racing thoughts.
And the vision from God, that's not just confidence, that's grandiosity. This feeling that you're chosen, special, maybe divinely inspired, that your plans are world-changing.
So the wedding isn't just a party in her mind. It's this huge, epic project that demands impossible things, like forcing a non-musician to play a concerto.
Precisely. And the spending. The $2,000 violin, using student loan money. That's impulsivity and poor judgment.
Right.
It shows this disconnect from consequences, from financial reality. She's not just buying nice things, she's taking huge risks because in that state, you can feel invincible. The project feels like the only thing that matters.
That completely explains the shift from funny to horrifying. OOP recognized her friend seemed mentally unstable, way beyond normal bride stuff. And that's when she decided to actually do something. She messaged the fiancé on Facebook.
Yeah, to explain her worry, which was honestly an incredibly brave and caring thing to do. Stepping into what sounds like a really volatile situation because she saw someone potentially breaking down.
Definitely not just bridezilla behavior.
No.
And before we get to how the fiancé reacted, we got to quickly mention the one comment that tried to spin this whole thing positively.
Oh yeah, someone suggested OOP should see this as a great personal development opportunity, like rise to the challenge.
And OP just shut it down perfectly. Her quote was basically, "But I don't want to learn the violin. I could give a shit about it.
Fair enough.
I have very little free time, a pretty stressful life, and I'm a full-time student. Sometimes, an impossible demand is just impossible."
And sometimes a crisis is just a crisis, not some kind of teachable moment gift wrapped in chaos.
Exactly. Okay, so moving into part 3, the fallout in the fiancé. OOP tries to help, tries to intervene, and gets immediate fireworks from the bride-to-be, who somehow found out about the message.
Yep, swiftly unfriended. And then she gets this classic defensive message, conveniently landing in a different inbox.
Right, quoting parts of it. "Thanks so much for trying to tell my husband I'm crazy. You are clearly jealous, and that makes me feel really bad for you."
Textbook denial and deflection. You're just jealous.
But the real confirmation came about an hour later. The fiancé messages OOP back. A really long message. And it basically confirmed everything OOP feared, and then some.
Oh, really? What did he say?
He confirmed the chaos was way bigger than just the violin thing. He said the bride had gone fucking nuts, his words on a florist, over wisteria.
Wisteria, okay.
Yeah, and apparently people familiar with Texas weddings chimed in on Reddit saying wisteria just doesn't hold up in the heat there, but the bride wouldn't accept it. Almost got arrested for causing such a scene.
Wow. So actual public meltdowns, nearly involving police, all driven by this rigid, perfect vision.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
And the financial stuff was real too. She had spent her financial aid money, the money for her fall semester courses, on random wedding stuff, including that violin.
Oh my God. So she basically threw away her education for this wedding vision.
Looks that way. And she wasn't just dreaming big. She was actively booking expensive venue tours at a giant castle near Lake Travis in Austin. The super ritzy area. Budget, apparently not a concern.
Zero connection to reality there.
So when the fiancé finally did try to talk budget with her, total meltdown. He described it as an epic fucking fit.
Oh boy.
And then In this paranoid lashing out, she accused him and the OOP of sleeping together.
Whoa. Okay, that's an escalation. And a really aggressive way to push back against anyone challenging the mania, right? Paint them as the enemy trying to destroy the perfect plan.
Exactly. The florist, the fiancé, OOP, anyone questioning the vision becomes an antagonist.
So what did OOP say to him then?
Well, incredibly, she tried again, suggested gently that the bride might be bipolar or manic, urged him to get help, maybe talk to her sister.
That's really mature. But the fiancé's reaction, you said it reveals a blind spot?
A huge one. This is maybe the saddest part. He was apparently more upset and focused on being hurt at what she had said to him about the wedding, the cheating accusation, than he was concerned about the very obvious, very serious mental health crisis happening right in front of him.
Oh, wow. So he's prioritizing his own hurt feelings over the fact that his partner is spending all her money, almost getting arrested, showing all these signs.
Yeah, he focused on the personal insult, the immediate drama, instead of the underlying, tragedy unfolding.
That just shows maybe a lack of understanding, lack of resources, just a real failure of support when someone is clearly spiraling. He's caught up in his own hurt while ignoring the massive flare gun going off next to him.
Totally. And his final words to OOP, just spectacularly ironic, given everything he just admitted. He says, "You made your point. You don't need to rub it in. I can take care of my family."
Right. After detailing exactly how he can't take care of the situation or his family or probably even himself right then. Wow.
So OP just confirmed one last time, nope, not playing the violin, wished them well, and noted that, yeah, her friend probably wouldn't be back in school that fall since the tuition money was gone.
Grim, but predictable, unfortunately.
The whole thing is just, it's a wild ride, but also a really stark lesson in telling the difference between someone being difficult under stress and someone needing serious help.
Absolutely. High stress versus genuine psychiatric distress. Very different things.
So what does it all mean? Well, the good news is OOP dodged having to make terrible sawing noises on a violin she didn't want.
A small mercy.
And OOP summed it up perfectly in her final update. "My friend was visited by the wedding god. I must play the violin."
Truly divine intervention right there.
Yeah.
And I still can't get over that poor commenter who tried to explain the wisteria issue.
I
They were giving this detailed botanical reason why it wouldn't work in Texas, and the comment just kind of trails off mid-sentence. It's like the wisteria sprites got them.
maybe. Never argue flowers with the internet.
Never.
But bring it back to the symbol of all this chaos, that $2,000 violin.
Yeah.
This whole thing started with a crazy demand, sure. But what it really showed was this profound lack of support or maybe understanding for someone clearly in crisis.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? It's been about 10 years since this was posted. Where is that violin now?
Right. Is it mounted on a wall somewhere?
Yeah.
A weird monument to the time a friend was almost forced into musical greatness against her will.
Or did it end up in some Austin pawn shop? Sold off quick to try and pay the florist bill the fiancé was so worried about.
Who knows? Anyway, something for you to think about next time you hear a wedding demand that sounds just a little bit out there.
Definitely gives you perspective.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive.